Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Canopy Cast with your hosts Christopher McGurn, John Michael Price, and Michael O'Connor. Canopy Cast is a guest-based podcast that showcases an ecosystem of expertise through thought leadership and innovation. We bring people together to provide value for our audience through impactful stories and experiences. Canopy Cast, an ecosystem of expertise. Today's episode is brought to you by Kitcaster. Kitcaster books entrepreneurs on top podcasts. Get on-demand podcast placements scheduled for you by professionals for a flat monthly rate. Where are you in your entrepreneur journey? Validation? Launch? Traction? Scale? Wherever you are, podcasts will take you further. We ain't talking about small talk, we're talking about the good stuff. Real, actionable communication. Find out more and apply today at kitcaster.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Canopy Cast. This is John Michael Price. With me are my two co-hosts, Christopher McGurn and Michael O'Connor. Today with us, we have a special guest, Jeff Bermant. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Of course. Jeff's the CEO of Virtual, oh my gosh, I completely blanked on that. Virtual World Computing.
Yeah. If I don't know, we're all in trouble.
I was looking at the Cocoon one, and my mind completely blanked. So he has a lot going on. Jeff's the CEO of Virtual World Computing. He also has another business, Cocoon, My Data Rewards. You're here to tell us about both of those. But why don't you just give our audience a little background of what you've been doing, kind of your journey to where you are now and what you have going on.
So thank you, and thanks for the kind introduction, even though you didn't know which company to yell out.
It's stupid because I asked you right before, which one do you want me to say, and I still tripped up.
I'm surprised you didn't ask me about my real estate development company too, because I have that as well. So I'm a transplant from back east. I was lucky enough to go to SC, University of Southern Cal, on a tennis scholarship. I was one of the great bench sitters of all time there. I went out to the pro circuit for a year or two, did nothing, and decided to hang up my tennis racket, which I did successfully. Although senior officials at the company I started with, I know why they hired me. They just wanted to play tennis with me because I'd get all these invitations like 2 p.m. Could you meet us at the tennis court? I'm like, aren't I supposed to be working for you guys? That was. So anyway, I started in the real estate business. I worked for Coldwell Banker, which is now CBRE, and was a salesman there. I actually worked for, you guys probably know Tom Selleck, the movie star. I actually worked for Tom's dad, Bob Selleck, who was a big player in LA, was a great guy, super smart. Taught me how to be a good salesman, how to be truthful, honest, all those types of good things. But I didn't really want to be a salesman. I wanted to be a real estate developer. My family was in the real estate development business. So I opened my own shop, Entrepreneur. I quickly made a fair amount of money doing that. I really enjoyed doing that for 20, 25 years. So I'm a little unusual. I already made a fair amount of money building buildings and building homes. And then got this bug that I wanted to do something on the internet. And that's about 10 or 11 years ago. And for all those people who turn out that they don't think they're going to be successful because their first product didn't really work, I'm one of those. And admittedly, I spent a lot of my own money creating something that turned out it would be okay. I mean, it could be okay if we put some more money to it. But what we're doing, and this led me to this fantastical idea of helping people make money on the web. No scams, none of that kind of stuff. But not like one of those, you come to my gym and do this. You make, no, this is for real. And so to me, I always liked helping people, and on my office buildings and the residential I built, I was always about the people, and I didn't worry about the money. I worried about how do I take care of you, and I'll get paid for that. And so from that, about 2 years ago, since I knew how to build browsers, because we built the browsing company, which is Cocoon, that's the first browser, And Cocoon, by the way, is a secure browser. So that means no one can follow you. We store all your data in the cloud, not on your computer. Um, and we hide your IP address, putting ours. It's very sophisticated out. It's a great product, but there's a zillion browsers out there, and it's hard to get away between a browser and a VPN. So that's kind of the story. So if anybody in the crowd who's going, I'm not that successful at this, you can pivot like I did and maybe find a successful story. Now my story's not over yet because I don't know if this is going to be super successful, but I'm super excited about being able to help people and helping them in a small way. It's not, you're not going to make $1 million doing this, but something that the other companies won't let you do or won't give you the opportunity. And I'm like, wait, that's not fair. We need to make the world fair. And as you guys know, that's what we're all on a mission today, is to make the world fairer, a better place for all of us to live. And I'm one of these guys that's been professing this since I've been a kid. So it's a great story.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. So, doing a little bit of a deeper dive, you mentioned, Cocoon's a browser. You guys specialize in that. Tell us a little bit more about that, where that is right now, where you see that heading in the near future. What are some of your goals, and how do people, your customers, clients interact with that tool?
So Cocoon, there's a paid version of Cocoon, the browser, and then there's a free version. Now this is all the secure browser. So I want you guys to have like a little, there's the secure browser, and eventually what will happen is we'll merge the secure browser with the free browser that allows you to profit from your data. That's a great story to tell in a minute. So you'll have the option of going, I want to be super private. I don't want anybody to know where I'm going. We're better than Tor. We make Tor look like it's a molehill. You don't get this at Tor. I don't know if you guys have tried it. At Tor, a lot of sites won't even take you. I mean, they're like, nope, sorry, you're on Tor. We're not going to, admit you. With Cocoon, we've never had that problem. But the story, which is the really fantastic one, is 2 years ago, we came up with this idea like, wait, why isn't anybody making money from, I was reading all these articles about people not making money from their browsing and from their geolocation. And I thought, wait a minute, this seems really unfair. And I started reading about Google and the $134 billion they take in from advertising off of your data. And what are you guys getting for that? Zero. Not getting a penny. And I thought, as some justice in the world, not that I have anything against Google, but I actually don't like their format. I don't like the fact that they don't give you anything back. Neither does Facebook and a lot of the other companies. Most people don't realize this. They're just taking all the data for free. You think what you're getting for them is a browser, and that's the exchange. But truly, that browser costs them nothing to build. It's just peanuts. And so I came up with the idea of like, why don't we allow users to sell their data? Why don't we set all that up, get brokers, get the companies to buy the data? We still protect your personal information. We don't ever give that out. You might get a phone ID, but you'll never be personally connected. And the advertisers don't really care. They only care about your profile anyway. They care less who you are. So that's where we went. And a year ago, we launched Cocoon My Data Rewards, which I like to call Cocoon MDR. And that's the browser for the United States right now that allows you to come on, sign up, download the browser. It acts just like Chrome. Looks like Chrome, except it has a different picture to it. But you would know all the things if you know Chrome. It's easy to use. The difference is we're private. And instead of allowing all that information just to flow out, we store that information and we sell it for you. Now we get permission from you, but all of a sudden you're now in business about making money from your own data versus somebody just taking it. They're not even asking permission. Yeah, they ask permission in their TOS, but good luck finding it. We, on the other hand, tell you that, do you want to sell your data? And now we're about to launch mobile. and we're starting with Android, and this will become worldwide, where first you'll be able to do your geolocation and get paid on your geolocation, and then shortly, in probably 3 to 4 months, we'll have browsing available, and you can make money browsing. So literally, you could just put Cocoon and MDR in your pocket, walk around, do all the things you normally do, and get paid for it.
That's awesome. It's really interesting because the majority of people out there don't even realize how much data they're giving up when they're using a normal browser. You know, they don't realize, they're like, oh, I'm just going about my normal day, and they don't realize how much data collection is actually going on. You know, not to freak anybody out. I mean, it's going to happen. Everyone knows there's no such thing as privacy anymore, but you know, it's kind of crazy how people, you know, just don't even realize. But you know, I think a lot of people, you know, listening in, they're going to immediately have the question, you know, like, how lucrative is this for the person that's wanting to use it? Like, how much money can they get back?
Sure. And I can tell you. So first of all, it depends on how much you use your browser or how much you walk around. Now with the mobile, this is all about what you do, not what I can do. Now, the only thing I can do for you is find pathways, more and more pathways, because we're on the same side of the ledger. We make a little commission. You guys make most of the money. It's an 80-20 split. When we start showing ads at the footers, we'll ask you, do you want to see the ads on the footers? And we'll probably split that profit 50-50 so that we're all both making money. And this is all about us together making money versus us versus you. And my viewpoint is you guys are doing all the work, so I should take less, you should get more. And so that's kind of the philosophy. Now, so I started to go down, well, it kind of depends. If you're a guy that's just going to Reddit, and that's all you do all day long, go to Reddit, you're probably not going to make much money because advertisers are not really going to be interested in your profile. But if you're, you know, if you're wandering around the web, you're going to Facebook, and I would tell you, in the long run, you should probably stop going through Facebook on your app. You should come through us and just set a permanent thing to go through, because every time you go there, you'll make more money off of that. Because advertisers are really interested, like, where are you going? So they're not interested in you just going to Reddit. So for instance, if you do 4,000 to 6,000 pages, you might make as much as, you know, $20 to $25 in a month. And it will go up as we grow. You know, my goal is to find as many sources, since your data is already out there, find as many sources that will buy your data. And so, you know, I profit along with you. The more we can do, the more you can make. And I predict we'll be for somebody who's active on the web and geolocation, could be as much as $100 to $200 a month if this is done right. And we all pull as a team, and, you know, you guys help. The world helps me build this, and it's a win-win for everyone. Yeah, I'm even making it. I can't exactly tell you how this is coming out. I'm not allowed to. But I can tell you, I'm already trying to figure out how to make an investment, a small investment with us. So if you really like what we're doing, I like the idea of anyone being able to make some more money with us. I mean, whether you make it through your browser, your app, or you invest a little bit of money to see how it goes. And I'm not pitching here to pitch that, but I'm just telling you my philosophy is I love the world. I want to see everybody profit, make some money. And, you know, maybe you call me a capitalist, but I'm a social capitalist. That means I want everybody to actually get involved.
I think that's hugely the ability to bring that data value back to everyone who is, you know, kind of giving it up right now. You know, like John was saying, so many people just don't even realize it. But I mean, that's a sweet gig. You know, so many people already are browsing so many pages, so many sites and everything, that to be able to, you know, have a passive income stream, whether it's, you know, small or large from that, it's just gravy. Like it's there's a application out there called Honey.
Yeah.
They use, like, it's similar. It's like for shopping, and it like pulls up kind of like receipts and stuff to give you like discounts. I think that's a fantastic idea. You know, kind of in that same realm of, you know, there's literally no reason not to use it. Like unless you have some sort of weird brain block where you're like, I just love the Google search engine or something like that. There's no reason not to use it. sells itself because you're
Yeah.
getting money where you would.
Yeah, we intend to also to build our own store. Like it's like and it'll be more of the, I would say, more of your age group than focus on older people. Not have anything against older, but I really want to champion this age group and younger of finding ways to make money. So we'll also be launching probably in 6 months our own store, like what was it, Ebates, now Radican. So, and as best we can, we'll try and beat everybody to give you the lowest rate. Of course, we're going to get a commission, but once again, this is about an experience. So we're a browser and a data company that wants you to experience where you're making money with us. Or if you're buying something, you get the best discount we can find, and also money back in your pocket. Now, I'm all about that. I mean, it's just crazy. I've done really well in my lifetime. I've been super lucky. But this is a different kind of passion. This is a passion that finally I get to do what I love to do, which was to help people. And I love my office building projects because I was always there to try and help my tenants. Didn't even think of them as tenants. I thought of them as customers. So it's a different world. I'm as my wife says, you're special. I don't think she means it like I mean it, but you're special. John, you'd know what that means. Like, you're special. You know how that emphasis goes. Or the other thing I hear a lot at home is, yeah, you're some genius.
I haven't gotten that one. Not with the attitude anyway.
Yeah, well, it will come. Don't worry. Of course, as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of crazy things I love and would love to invent, and most of them come from my own need. Like, God, I hate what they're doing here. We could do a better job of it. That's just how my mind works. Like finding a GPS for my bike. Oh my God, it's almost impossible to find a GPS to find your bike. They all suck. And so, not that I'm going off to do that, guys. I'm very passionate about what I'm doing now, but that's my mind. It's just never shuts.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I was reading something, and someone was having a conversation with Steve Jobs, and they said it just never shut off for him. And it wasn't that he was, really passionate about like tech or any one thing. He just got really, really pissed off when things didn't work well.
Yeah. And that's like me. I'm like,
Yeah.
when the web got started, or not first, but 10 years ago when I got into it, I was so annoyed at everybody following me, all the ads, then you get the emails. I mean, I was like, that's why I spent my own money and built the first round of Cocoon, because I was like, okay, that's got to stop. And then the VPN showed up, and they kind of washed us out somewhat because they can just outspend us, right? So that didn't really work out. We couldn't figure out how to make any money. So this combination of giving secure, because I like the idea of privacy when you want to be private, and I love the idea that you can make money and your choice, to me is just a powerful combination that Braves kind of put it into place. And I think they've done some great things, but I think they're missing the boat of not allowing really you to profit. They have all these gimmicks. Plus, one thing we do, which is unusual, we actually pay you in cash. So it's not like, oh, I got to go to Bitcoin. I got to sign up for. What lady in Nebraska knows what even Bitcoin is? Right? I mean, we all know it, but we're in the tech sort of field. But I just want an everyday person to pick this up and make some money and not go, oh, how do I do it? So my goal is eventually you get it back on your credit card, you get it back on your debit card. We're paying you through PayPal. Any way we can get you the money that's easy. We'll have Bitcoin eventually. So if you want to, do whatever you want with Bitcoin, we'll have that. But for me, it's like we're a notch ahead of everybody because everybody else that's in this industry is paying you in some sort of coin. And I don't believe it.
It's awesome that you're doing that. Have you looked at any other platforms besides PayPal and direct deposit? Is there a specific reason you're going with PayPal?
The reason I'm going with PayPal to start is they're in 220 countries. And that's the fastest way to get people their money. So through PayPal, and they have it all set up to convert money from one to another. So that's the easiest. Credit cards will be another way in the long run that you'll just see on your credit, hey, I got $20, right? So that's another way that eventually we'll be able to do it. But we need to grow more in order to attract those types of Venmo. I've looked at Venmo. The problem with Venmo is they keep pushing me back to PayPal. And they just don't have a commercial face yet that I could find that made sense, that they didn't send me over to PayPal, which I was a little annoyed with. But any suggestions you guys have, like, well, we all like this and it's commercial so that I could run payments through. And we, by the way, we pay every month. We do pay. We have the user pay their 2 or 3%. If they don't take it quarterly, if they take it quarterly, I pay the fee for you. So there's no fee every quarter you take it, and unless you really need the money on a monthly basis, that's free as well.
It's just a complete win-win platform. It's just a good formula there. What was your original inspiration to build something like this? To use the data to give back to people. Was there, because like we talked about, so many people don't even know it's happening. Like, how did you first kind of break into that, that realm and, figured this stuff out?
So I'd like to start out by saying I'm a genius, but the way it would come out at home is like, you're some genius. It's not. So I was having a conversation with my son who's in the tech world, and he works for a construction tech company, a big one, doing very well. I'm very proud of him. I have 3 kids and they're all super kids. This kid is, he's kind of a chip off the shoulder, always looking for a new opportunity. And he said to me, Dad, you know how to collect information. You're in the browsing business. Have you ever thought about that data is actually valuable? And I scratched my head for like 3 seconds and went, oh my God, that's a great idea to help people. So my first instinct was, can we make money? Can both of us make money? What's the pathway? What does that business look like? By building something like this, is it that it's just so small a profit that you could never do it? Or is there enough profit for both of us to profit? And that turns out, not surprisingly, that the bigger companies aren't giving you something. But as I said, here's another thing you probably don't know. Firefox is being paid by Google up to $400 million a year. And the reason for that is because on the search engine, they can see where you're going. I mean, they can see what you're searching, Google can. But once you hit the browser, they can no longer see where you actually went. And that's valuable data that they're missing. So they actually pay Firefox this big sum of money to get it. And by the way, if we end up with that, everybody's going to make a lot more money. So, because I believe in spreading the wealth. So, to me, that's how I figured it out. And then I had to go find, this is kind of interesting, I had to go find a company that would work with me. And I contacted 3 or 4 data companies, and they're like, nah, you're too small. In fact, you don't even exist. Come back and see us when you have a couple million users. I finally found this one guy, and the company is called Complimentics. I give them big compliments for helping us. And we formed a partnership. And they're the ones that started selling the data for me. And so we're partnering with them. And now we have a solid contract for the mobile. I'm super excited about the mobile. And the mobile is, what's cool about the mobile is about every 164 feet is a new place. So literally you walk around your house, and it's bigger than a bread box. You just got, a couple locations. And if you walk around or you drive your car, you're going to get a lot more locations. And that's just money. Because you're being followed. When you get in your car, what does everybody see? Oh, 21 minutes to work. Well, they knew I got in the car and they know I'm going to work. I'm being followed. You might as well get paid for it. So silly. To me, it's shocking how people take advantage of other people so much. And I get this pushback from talking to VCs sometimes, like, well, you should be charging more. It's like, no, I want my customer to be really happy. To me, that's where you should go. That's what today's should be like. Not how much money. I mean, the investors always want to know, how much money am I going to make? It's always like, well, I'm going to answer you by how much my customer likes my product and how they'll stick with me versus going somewhere else. And then I could tell you how much money you're going to make.
Yeah, because the answer, if you can't build a user base, is none.
Yeah.
And if the customers aren't happy, you can't build a user base. And so, that's why things like, Gmail work. Like, it's free.
Yeah.
People want to use a free product. And, that's back when the internet was just getting started, like you're saying earlier, people used to have to pay for email. A lot of kids my age don't realize that, but back before Hotmail came on scene, you actually had to pay a monthly fee for email, and that's how they gained so much traction really quickly. Is just by including that message at the bottom of every email, sent using my free Hotmail account, and people saw that free. I want to use free, and the platform blew up, and then they started monetizing it. And that's what I always tell people is you're talking to VCs, especially right now with investors. I've had countless people either get in contact with me, get referred to me, message me on LinkedIn. What's the investment space looking like right now? How are investors acting? What are people looking for? Are people making investments right now? Venture capitalists making moves? And two of the things that people are really looking for, you either have revenue coming in or you have a user base, because they recognize that, as a company, especially if you're pre-launch, you're not going to have revenue. And, so it's really hard to get money pre-launch right now. But if you have already launched, if you're not making revenue, as long as you have a user base, investors are okay with that. Because, if you have zero revenue, but 500,000 users, there's a way to monetize that.
If you can find a way, I totally agree with you. If you can find a way to monetize it, you're in business. But our thing is, I'm lucky because I have personally fairly deep pockets. I also have some friends that are fairly deep pocket. And this has been a very long road for me. I mean, some investors would look at me and go, you're crazy how much money you spent on this. And the answer is, yeah, I could afford to spend this money because I wanted to do something different. I wanted to help people. And this is my money and this is how I chose to spend it. And now if you want to get involved, some of the rules are my customers need to make a nice profit and you guys get to, make a nice profit yourself, but don't get greedy and expect me to, take all the money off the table, because then you won't have a customer base. It's pretty simple, right? I've been in business long enough to know how that works. Luckily, my real estate career, I learned quickly how to take care of my customers and we got paid very well. Now, maybe I'm not the richest guy in the world because I wasn't super tough on people. I have one story where one of my competitors, a window broke as a new tenant, and he called me up and he went and had lunch with me. And he said, what would you have done if a window broke in your office building and I don't think I caused it? Would you have charged me? No, I would have just gone and fixed it. Maybe I would have tried to figure out what happened, but I would probably never charge you for it. Well, 5 years later, he said, well, I'm coming to see you. 5 years later, he left that other office building and went and leased with me. Because he said that attitude was the right attitude, which was, you're here to take care of me versus here just to take every dime from me. That's not the win-win.
Yeah, you got to have an abundance mindset. You got to have the win-win mindset. It's really, really crucial being successful in business, because you have to have those factors for a relationship there. If they're non-existent, people aren't going to give you a second look.
Exactly right. And the investors, so for me and the investors, we're just starting a new round. But for me with the investors, it's like, okay, don't put your money in. I'll put my money in. I put my money where my mouth is. If I think I really have something. Now, someone will complain, well, you have too much money. And I said, well, no one wanted to join me back then. I don't blame you. I never asked you. I'm one of these guys that wouldn't even ask anybody for money unless I think I have a winner on my hands. I mean, it's just wrong. And so
I agree.
you got to believe in what you're doing and have a pathway you can show. I can show somebody. I'll give you an example. Last week, now the browser that's in the United States, there's two odd worlds in this. The advertisers there's mobile and then there's desktop, and they actually they're not together. They're different. They're totally different programs. So we have a US desktop that can only be monetized in the US. You have to be in the US to monetize it. Well, somebody got wind of this in India, I guess India, and we had 6,000 signups. They couldn't read the language in there. I had 6,000 signups in 2 days out of nowhere. I mean, we did no monetization. They must have seen a video or something. And it was crazy because, here's an opportunity, no strings attached other than using our product to make money off of your data. It's as simple as that. Right.
That's
Powerful
amazing.
stuff. To me, it's a dream come true.
Mhm.
I've made good money in my lifetime, and we'll make good money doing this. But the dream come true to help people if they're not using a VPN, so they're not totally private, or they're using Cocoon Secure, then you might as well get paid for, you might as well get a check. Nobody really cares who you are anyway. They only care about your profile.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that kind of leads into my next question. How many users do you have on the platform right now?
Well, as of as of Saturday, I guess we had about 8,000 on the platform with very little advertising. Our cost of acquisition has been about now it's gone down to about less than $1, 70 cents or 80 cents.
Wow.
But it's going to drop like a rock. My prediction is we'll go down to 14, 18 cents, and we'll perform. I mean, the goal for me is to pile in as many people as I can and then go and negotiate other contracts to make more money.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Lots of contracts, lots of connections. I'll have a full sales force out there trying to sell our data so that, our users can profit off of it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of sparks a thought in my head. Is there any way to monetize data from a website perspective? So let's say you have a website hosted that has X number of users coming to it. You're collecting their data as well. Could a company who has heavy web traffic utilize maybe something like your platform in a different way? Like, have you thought about making a plugin or an embed for website users like that?
I haven't thought about it, but now you're in the deal because you just gave me the idea.
We'll talk after.
Congratulations! You may have earned yourself some stock or some money or something. I mean, I pay. I also believe in paying people for their ideas. I don't like the free stuff. I think if you come up with something ingenious, so I think that's a really good idea. I just don't have time to do the business as well as the consumer. I think the business, like you mentioned, is a very interesting proposition where you could plug in that heavy traffic. We would then slice and dice it for you, sell it for you, and we'll take a commission. And if John, you and your team want to come on and be a part of that team, I'm happy to talk to you guys. Seriously, I mean,
That's awesome.
I love to build stuff
There
that
you
is
go.
unusual and will
There
make
it is.
money. It's just the coolest thing in the world.
We'll have to get a private meeting set up after the episode here.
You guys are smart. I love it. I mean, I'm serious. I love the idea.
Awesome.
It's a brilliant, and it's B2B, so it's a
Yeah.
brilliant strategy, right? I actually did think about it, but I didn't think about it the way you thought about it as a
Mm.
plug-in. And
Mhm.
one of the things that I think one of the other companies is learning. So what they tried to do, which was I think a huge mistake, they tried to just build a plug-in to Chrome to take Cipher off this business so that you would just use theirs. And the problem with this, Chrome knows this. And they're popping up things like, this is not to be a trusted site, or things of that nature, right? And some people are like, oh yeah, what we had to do is build our own. We started from scratch with Chromium, and we built our own browser. Now it's kind of an extension in a sense, but we built the entire thing. So Google can't see where people are going. and we have total control of the site. Google has no control.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing that I thought of was, how to take it out of a browser, turn it into a plugin and an embed so that, XYZ business, let's say you have an online e-commerce platform, you have 100,000 in traffic a month, you're not going to other pages, but you have 100,000 people coming to your page. And, there's gotta be data there.
Just think of doing that
there
with,
is, yeah.
Yeah, just think of doing that with, with one of the big sites that gets 1 million users a month or 2 million users a month.
Right.
Right. That's valuable data. They could be making, the company could be making $10, $15 per person. Oh, no, it won't be that much, because the problem is, well, if you build the company browser, right, their browser, then yes, that would work. If you're just coming to the site, maybe there may be a value to that. I need to think that through a little more. But I think you guys are already smarter than me, so you could think that through. Tell me.
Yeah, but yeah, I was thinking about that, and then some kind of a plug-in monetization for mobile apps too, because there's so many apps out there that use geolocation as well. Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Grubhub, any of those that connect two users together, they're constantly getting the geolocation of both parties. What's in it for Uber? Are they monetizing their data in the same way? So they're on a much larger scale, but there are tons of small medium businesses out there that have like applications. And if you had some kind of a embed code to offer saying, hey, install this into your mobile application, we'll monetize your data for you. You don't even have to worry about the business side of things. You'll just get a check every month depending on how many people are using your platform.
There is a company out there. This is my partner's Complimentics. That's what they do. That's how we got formed. Is they actually, so most people don't know this, but like Shazam, Shazam takes all that data and they go to Complimentics and say, sell it for us, and they go out and find people to buy it. So that's just an SDK that you build into it to go to wherever you want to send that data to. And we hope we'll have lots of SDKs in our app. But once again, there's a lot of dreaming. The biggest part about this is so great is there's a lot of ways to monetize this data, and we're just touching the surface. I could be in 20 years. The big giant companies that are just taking 100%, they either have changed their model or they don't exist. Now, Google's an exception because they have so many different ways of monetizing data. But still, there's an opportunity here that's worth billions of dollars to the smaller companies doing what I'm doing. And I'm, that's great. We want to be the best. You don't have to be the only hamburger maker, but to be the best, you got to be the best hamburger maker. And that's us. That's what we want to do.
And I think I was just going to say, I just wanted to mention, first of all, that I love the whole mindset, the whole philosophy of, you're giving, and in that is what you're receiving, right? Like helping other people first. And as a result of that, you're making a nice profit for yourself, et cetera. But it's definitely putting others first. It's definitely there to serve others first. And I want to commend you on that. I think that's absolutely incredible. And I think just a testament to what you're already doing and also moving forward. I think that mindset is one, what differentiates you from the big giants right now, and two, is going to make that massive impact in the future like you're talking about. I think, having that giving mindset rather than just taking, people are, especially when it gets brought to light, and over time, more and more people are going to start doing that, thinking about it, realizing it's actually a thing. And when people see like, oh, wow, these people are actually trying to help us, they're on our side, they're not just using us, like it's inevitable people are going to go to your side rather than the people who are just taking from them. So I just want to commend you on that. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and it's also just like a beautiful mission.
It's just the way I am as a human being, which is, for me, it's like always been this way. I started early in life, and I came from a pretty well-off family, and I wanted to work all the time. And my first job was helping the grocer who had one of these trucks. He had a grocery truck of vegetables. I went to work for him for free because I just wanted to help him get the customers, and then I swept tennis courts because I became a tennis player, and I loved just doing that. People are going, this kid's doing it for free. And it was like, yeah, I feel like it's a service to people. And now I'm lucky I get paid for what I do. And I really try and be fair when I'm doing business. I always like the other guy I like a win-win. I don't like to I never take everything off the table. That's just not my style. So as I said, I might not make as much money. I've seen some other guys do as much real estate as I've done, and they're a lot richer than I am. And I look in the mirror every morning and go, I'm pretty happy with myself.
Mm.
Right? Because I came from a different point of view. I came from the user standpoint of view, like, I want to be fair. I want you to have the space. I want you to have it the way you want it. You know,
Yeah.
if you want to have dogs in your space, okay, we'll figure that out. You know, all that stuff.
Yeah. And it's very evident. And I
Yeah,
appreciate
just it is. And I appreciate you guys even recognizing that. I just think the world's changing. I'm part of that change, and I'm excited. I mean, yeah, we're going through a really rough spell right now. It's just horrible. But to realize, you know, I have my counterpart at Complimentics is a black guy, and he's a great guy, super smart. And to hear that he's been pulled over in a white neighborhood because he's driving through, he's a college graduate. I mean, to me, that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
And I'm disgusted by the whole thing. And people being beat up or what happened with that cop is just shameful what he did. I mean, it bothers me so much that you can't look past somebody's color,
Mm.
right? It's just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty conservative overall. I mean, financially, I'm conservative, but when it comes to something like being equal to everybody else in the world, like, everybody should have a chance.
I think it's so powerful to have these technologies like what you're doing that, can integrate everyone across the world in this win-win mentality where, it's not, there aren't borders to it. There aren't, segregated lines to this. It's like everyone can win together. It just makes sense for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. It just makes sense and it works. I
I
think
came very close, Michael. I came very close when I wasn't getting any pull on this. This is going, well, maybe I'll just make this like REI. It's just a co-op, right? Because I literally, I'd rather not make any money and see a win for the people than not. Now, we'd like to make a profit, so I'm being honest about that. But just the whole idea was like, if I couldn't find the money to do this, well, maybe I just make it a co-op or make it free, and somehow we get paid, because we got to do the work to get the money, to make the money. So it's not like it's free to us. It's not. But yeah, no, it's a real, if we can pull it off, it's just and pull it off in a way that's mature, and it's helping. It's not like a lot of the stuff out there looks like, oh, I'm just trying to make a buck in our area. And to me, that's not what this should be about. We should make money, but we should make money while we're making you money.
Mm.
Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
the difference, and that's where our team is coming from. They're trained by me to know that's what I want from this company, is you're helping other people and you'll get paid for your services.
Mm. I love that.
Yeah, cool stuff.
Big
You guys
big
are
fan
smart.
of the
You guys are
win-win.
smart. You're not married. Well, one's married, so you guys are smart. If my wife ever hears this recording, I'm a dead man.
just, just keep going on that bike ride.
Well, as I told you guys at the beginning of this, I haven't seen my wife in 3 months, and she told me to go to my offices to shelter in place. She's like, I'm so happy at home. I called her, hey, are you happy? Everything fine? Oh, it's so wonderful. And I'm thinking, at the office, what are you talking about? I'm just kidding you. I have a great wife. She puts up with a lot of these shenanigans, and she's like patiently on the sidelines looking at me. Is he crazy, or does he have something?
Hmm.
I think that's every significant other of an entrepreneur, because to be an entrepreneur, you got to be at least a little bit insane, in some aspect of your life. Everybody always says, to start a business from the ground up, you got to at least be able to have a certain amount of crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. You have to, and it's not, I was even somewhat arrogant when I built my first company in real estate because we were the biggest and the best in Santa Barbara, which isn't saying much. But I got arrogant, and the bubble bop, the bloom popped when the economy went south in 2008. Boy, did I get a lesson about being humble. And maybe I don't have as humble as some people would, but to me, I learned a valuable lesson, and I actually changed as a person and became a lot less. I mean, I was arrogant because I was a good tennis player too, and everybody wanted me to come to their school and play tennis. So I had this arrogance going, and in 2008, I learned a valuable lesson that I could sink just as fast as other people would, and what would my life look like? And I pulled it out, I pulled my bootstraps up and said, well, I'll do my best. I paid people off. I did all the right things for the banks. I really worked with people because I felt like, yeah, they trusted me with their money. Right? Didn't really work out, but did the best you could. I never shrunk from my life, my things I had to take care of.
I think we're getting close to time here. I know it's been a great conversation. It's absolutely flown by. But I just wanted to ask Mike and Chris, you guys have any last questions for Jeff? Or Jeff, if you have any last questions for us, we'd love to hear that as well.
I'm ready to hire you guys on as my second team.
There we go.
Are you guys available?
Look at that.
You guys are super smart.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Power of podcasting right there.
And here's the thing. And I want listeners to know this. It's the power of other people that come together that can make us such a wonderful community world. And it's like you guys saying to me, hey, I already knew the first conversation I had with you guys, like I could hire these guys, they could become partners of mine, and I would love them because I could see the passion and the giving that you guys have. And I think there's a page being turned in the world, which is sensational. Right? Unfortunately, it came from a terrible thing, but it maybe in the end it's going to work out, and hopefully it will.
Yeah, I do have one last question because I remember right at the beginning you said you're from the East. So I grew up just outside of Boston in Massachusetts. So where on the East are you from?
I'm from Rye, New York. Do you know where that is?
I think that's because I know the 90 kind of cuts across there. Is that
We are 65 miles north of the city of New York City. So we're kind of a suburb, very nice little town. Actually, I say I'm from Rye. My sister was from Mamaroneck because the city line went through our house. So, because I was a little snobby about things, I told you guys that. I wouldn't talk to my sister. She lived in Mamaroneck and I lived in Rye. And Rye was a better place to live than Mamaroneck. So for years, I said nothing to my sister and then I realized in 2008, yeah, no better than she is. I better start talking to her.
Do you do the whole sibling feud thing where you took the tape and you taped through the middle of the room? And this is my city and that's it.
No, but you know what? That house was my old house was for sale. I should have gone over and done that, and then they would have probably raised the value of the house because part of it was in Mamaroneck, and I don't know what they were selling, but Rye may be more expensive than Mamaroneck. I'm not really sure, but it's just funny to think that we. And I have some friends, by the way. My friends don't let me get away with anything. So I have a basketball friend who went to SC with me, and he was a basketball player there. And when I would say I'm from Rye, New York, the first words out of his mouth would be, "Nah, he's from Mamaroneck."
That's funny. Yeah, I was talking to a good friend of mine from back home, and he started a successful business with several friends, and he said this was back when we were talking about starting Chameleon, which is our tech agency, and he was telling me like all the advice that I have to give you. He said if you want to start a business, do it with friends, because one of a couple things will happen. You'll either fail and you'll hopefully still be friends, or you'll succeed and you'll never think, that you could have had it better because you'll be working with your best friends and it'll all be fantastic. And he said the other important thing about starting business with friends is that when you become really successful, you still have those people in your life to keep you humble, because you'll go out to dinner and whoever it is, and you'll be where you are in life then with all your successes. You're driving the fancy cars, living in the nice houses, and you'll make a statement like that, like, oh, I'm from such and such, and they'll be like, oh yeah, remember back when you were driving that beater car? And he said it's really important to have those people that can bring you down because it keeps you in check.
It's kind of like at SC, when I went to SC, I was ranked in the top 20 in the country, and I thought I was going to be a big star, and it turned out I wasn't going to be a big star. I mean, I went out and played the pro circuit a little bit, but I wasn't going to be a great star. And now my legend is I was the best bench sitter ever at USC. I just sat on the bench most of the time and watched the really good players win matches. And, we won a national championship. I didn't do anything for that. I wasn't good enough. But in my own mind, I was just fine. And that's, I even got to, people need to understand that you do the best you can, and then you should be satisfied with yourself. If you were like, when I was a kid, I ran a race and I was dead last. And my father said to me, I said, hey, Dad, see how fast I ran? And he goes, well, if you ran so fast, why were you last? And I said, well, they just ran faster. Right? So the story is that you do the best you can in life, help other people, do the best you can for your family. And that's what you should be proud of. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily how much money you made, how many people you screwed, none of that. I mean, just to me, I could never stand doing that. So, just a little business philosophy about how I am and how I plan to treat this company and how I plan to grow it. And with your support, and you're coming on board with now your percentages because you came up with a new idea.
Well, thanks so much for sure. And thank you so much for your insight, the philosophy of, just giving back and doing your best. Perfect thing to, wrap things up with. So for everybody out there, thank you for listening in. Jeff, thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time and, just coming on here and giving us some of your wisdom and telling us about Cocoon. Everybody check out Cocoon. Check out Jeff, connect with him on LinkedIn, follow him, download the browser, check it out. You might make a buck or two. Who knows? Let's see if we can get this platform to grow.
And until we get to millions of customers, if you send me an email, I will respond.
There you go. That's the power of startups too, having access to the people that are building the product.
Thank you guys. It's been I have to say, I've had some of these. This was the best. I shouldn't say that because other guys will get mad. This was the best, time I've had on a podcast.
That's fantastic.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.